This is Colourful Radio. Our music, our news, our views.
Hello, Paul. How are you today?
Lisa, I'm great. How are you doing?
Not bad at all. Better for hearing your voice. It's been a while.
I know. It's been too long.
1 Degree From Me is the name of your matchmaking company, which you set up in 2009, having left a successful financial career. So from then until now, so much has happened. And as I researched your story, you listened to your gut, you paid attention to the signs, and you followed through with ideas. Do you believe self-awareness has played an important part along your journey?
Well, definitely self-awareness. I think self-awareness is probably one of the most important traits that anyone could have, in life. And also, what's interesting with matchmaking, I tell my clients, those who are self-aware are the ones who are the most successful in matchmaking. So that's a very important trait. And then also, delegation, I think, has been really important because while, I get a lot of the accolades and the awards, it's not just me. I have a whole team. I have a team of 27 people. And, you were working with Jessica, on my team, Lisa. It's like,
yes.
It's a whole team. And I think I've been self-aware enough to know the things that I'm really good at, the things that I'm bad at. And I stay away from the things that I'm bad at. I don't try to get better at those because I truly feel that if you are terrible at something and you work hard at that, the best you're going to get is mediocre. But if you have a skill set that you're good at and you work at it, you'll become great at that skill set. And so I try to work on the things that I'm good at.
Now, by day, you are a matchmaker, coach, author, blogger, columnist, and presenter. And by night, you are a husband and father. How do you find work-life balance?
It's a never-ending struggle, and you can never get it perfectly right. And I'm also finding it harder now with my son. My oldest son is 4, and so when he comes home from school, because I work out of home, right? So when he comes home from school, it's typically around 5 p.m., 4 p.m., somewhere around there, because he has after-school activities. He'll immediately run up to my office and Dad, let's play, or let's do something. And it's so hard. So it's a constant struggle, but what I've realized is that we do in a day what is most important for us. I mean, that's the bottom line. That's how we function as humans. What is most important to us, we do. And so what I'm trying to do is just to prioritize and stay to my values. And that's why I think that knowing your values in order is one of the most powerful exercises we can do in life, because once you know your values, you know what you need. Forget about all the stuff that you want, but if you're feeding your values, you know what you need. And my values are family, it is faith, it is ambition, it's creativity. And so if I can get those all in within a day, I'm good.
Wow, that's brilliant. And how important then do you think it is for people to sit down and actually work out what their values and mission, etc. is? It's
the most important exercise anyone can do on a planet is to identify that. And you'll change your life because you'll truly find out, well, what are the things that I need? And then you'll be able to go after those things. And ultimately, that's what's going to drive your happiness, is being able to feed your values.
And after helping other people find love, how do you maintain yours?
Everyone thinks I'm like the pro when it comes to love, and so therefore I must have, the perfect marriage. And it's a really good marriage, but, I make mistakes all the time. And what I've realized is that it's key to listen and not just hear. And that's one thing that my wife has really taught me is that I need to listen and not just make assumptions on what she wants or what she's thinking, but to literally listen. And listening is not just hearing, right? Hearing is, okay, Lisa, I hear your words, right? But listening is processing those words and then acting on them. And that's what I've learned to do, in my marriage, is to listen.
Oprah said, there is no such thing as luck. Success is where preparation and opportunity meet. Now, having worked with Oprah and thinking about your own path, would you agree with this quote?
Well, I love Oprah.
Yeah, we all do.
Yes, everyone does in the world.
Yeah.
I somewhat agree with that. I believe that there is an element of luck. Ultimately, I get what she's saying, right? And that is that you need to be prepared and you need to then be able to identify opportunities. Mm-hmm. And there's so many people that have lots of opportunities that come into their life, but they can't identify them. Mm-hmm. So I understand what she's saying there. But I also believe that there is an element of quote unquote chance that happens. Just like you could be walking down the street and there's $100 bill on the street that someone, dropped out. Like, it's chance that you found that. It wasn't opportunity or preparation that you found it. So there's an element of chance. But I do believe that everyone has roughly the same elements of chance, right? And everyone has the ability to prepare, and therefore everyone has the ability to seize opportunity.
And would you say that works in the same way, or it can be applied to how you sort of, I want to say the word tackle, but it's such the wrong word, but I'm going to say it anyway. Is that the same approach that you would use to tackle love? It sounds wrong. Can you tackle love?
Yes. Sometimes tackling in love, that works well, especially for, you're in a relationship. That's good. But yes, I will say yes, because in a relationship, there's so many people who just find the right person easily, right? It's like the friend that you have that dates the guy and then gets married, and you say, oh my gosh, I've been dating for years, and you dated the first person, you get married. Is there an element of chance? Sure, because there's the chance that it was the right guy, it was the right time for her, but at the same time, there is an element of preparation, right? I always say that the success of your marriage is really based on what you do before your marriage, right? All the things that you do before your marriage to prepare, right? Whether you're doing it proactively or whether you're doing it just, without you knowing, that's what leads to the success. So yes, I believe that there's a small element of chance, but the successful love comes from preparation, and it comes from being able to sense that opportunity, being self-aware enough to know where the opportunity is.
Interesting, because as you know, internet dating is rising. So that you could class that as preparation, right?
You could, just doing things differently. What I tell my clients all the time, it's really interesting, is that I found that out of my clients, as well as every single in the United States, and this is also in the UK, the average single has not been on one date in the last 2 years.
Yeah, I can hold my hand up to that. Paul, I need your help.
That's what I'm saying. It's like we live in a society where we just don't date anymore. And so, throw out the marriage or throw out the, I need to be in a relationship. Let's just focus on dating. Let's just focus on doing that. And so what I always say to my clients, if you do the same thing this year that you did last year and you had no dates last year, that's the definition of insanity, right? You must do things differently. And so the question, Lisa, is what are you going to do differently in 2015 than you did in 2014?
Well, I can tell you this. I'm not going to go back onto Tinder or any other of those free dating websites. My man ain't there, Paul. He is not there.
He's not there. Yeah, I tell you what, those are. It can get kind of crazy on some of those, but as long as you're doing things differently, go to different places, try different things. One quick tip I will say, Lisa, this is my challenge to you.
Okay.
Is I love curated tours. And I don't know if this is popular in the UK. In the United States, this is really becoming popular. It's called Side Tour here, but they're very small tours. It's like, 12 people going out at midnight to take photographs of all the Gotham architecture in New York City.
Okay.
You know, it's like very specific curated events. If you could find organizations that do that, they're great because it allows you to network with people who are just like you. And even if there's not a single guy in the group, the fact that everyone is, you know, similar to you, similar interests, probably similar values, they can make introductions to guys who are, you know, great for you. So those curated events, I really love.
Well, I'm going to accept the challenge, Paul, and I will update you.
All right. I love it.
Now, we've just been talking about dating and different things that you could do to enhance, I guess, your outcomes. Now, February is the month of love. And with Valentine's Day next week, what reminders can you give to those who are in relationships and who are single? I know you've kind of touched on it slightly, but is there anything else that you can give? Because, you know, Valentine's Day, I think, as a singleton, and as I have been in relationships before, it's a very pressured time. It's like, even if you don't believe in it, you feel pressured to come home with something if you value your life.
Absolutely. If you value your life, I know that. I agree with you. And this may come as a surprise, or maybe not, but I'm not a fan of Valentine's Day. I'm just not. And the reason why is because of what you just said. I mean, it's really a manufactured holiday. And when you buy a rose today versus Valentine's Day, you know, it's like 1/24 the cost today, you know, than on Valentine's Day. But what we can really, I think, know as someone who's in a relationship for Valentine's is that every day should be Valentine's. You know, the bottom line is, if you are in a relationship, you should be listening. You should be showing love in the way that your partner receives love. And the best book on that is Gary Chapman's 5 Love Languages, right? Because gifts aren't everyone's love language.
Yeah.
For some, they want quality time. For some, it's physical touch, right? For others, it's acts of kindness. Everyone has a different love language. It's important to know what that is and give love in that way. Now, if you are single and it is Valentine's, know this. There are millions upon millions upon millions of other people who are single on Valentine's Day, right? So don't feel the pressure to have a date or have to have a Valentine's or you know, if you didn't receive candy and chocolates, then something's wrong with you. Use that day simply as another opportunity to self-reflect, right? Think about what your values are. Think about the things that make you happy and focus on you. Because you know what? Your happiness is not in anyone else's hands but yours. And we are responsible for our own happiness. And therefore, we can't let any corporation, we can't let any, you know, because I think it's the corporations that drive Valentine's, but we can't let anyone direct us on any particular day. So know your happiness, or know what drives your happiness, know your values, and just have a great day on Valentine's.
That is really good. There's a growing trend of single women marrying themselves, like having the whole ceremony and everything. I just want to know what your thoughts are on that.
You know, I'm crossed on this one. I've seen this trend. The reason why I'm crossed is because when I think about marriage, I think that it's very spiritual.
Yeah.
And it is about, you know, I think about the Lord, and I think about vows that are taken before the Lord, and it's the union of two people. It's not the union of oneself to self. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so from that standpoint, it doesn't qualify as a marriage. Now, that being said, I understand a celebration, you know, of, hey, I'm happy to be single and I'm in love with myself. You know, that's cool to me, right? Because we know that most people just don't love themselves.
Yes.
And it always starts with self-love. And so I'm cool with the celebration of self-love. I'm not cool with taking vows before the Lord of basically joining matrimony with yourself. I don't get that.
And also as well, you know, it's one of those things I feel that if you really loved yourself, you wouldn't have to do a display, an expensive display like that. You can just wake up and say, you know what, look in the mirror and just say, I love myself. Yeah, I'm single and it's okay. I think the display, and this is just my personal opinion, the display is almost like, I can marry myself because I love myself. I don't care about the fact that I'm not married. Look. And it's actually, I think, kind of opposite to what it's actually meant to show. It's a bit of a conflict for me, but again, it's just how it is from my perspective. You know, how it is for that individual is how it is for that individual. But just from the outside looking in, I just see a whole lot of conflict. I find it very interesting.
I heard that.
Yeah, I find it very interesting.
I heard that.
In December last year, you announced that Devon Franklin's production company, Franklin Entertainment, in partnership with Columbia Pictures, have acquired the film rights to your life story and your first book, which is called It's Complicated, but It Doesn't Have to Be. Can you describe that call?
Oh, I mean, it's surreal. You know, it's the fact that, you know, my story is going to be on the big screen, and I never ever dreamed of anything like this ever. And when it happened, I didn't necessarily believe it, even to this day. You know, today, about an hour ago, I was talking to the director of the film, and we're working on the script, and even that is still surreal. I don't think that I will believe it until I actually see it on the screen.
I follow you on Facebook, and when I read that, I was like, oh my God, how amazing is that? Because, you know, first of all, I heard about you first of all when you came to London, and, you know, the motto was that you're the real life Hitch. But then now you're kind of, your story's been made. Your story is being made. So it trumps Hitch in my eyes.
Yeah, it's so wild because all the connections, you know, Hitch was one of my favorite movies, right? It was done by Columbia Pictures. Devon was working for Will Smith at the time, right?
Wow.
And so now Devon, through Columbia Pictures, acquires the story. They're going to do this. This is going to be like the new Hitch. Like, everything is just surreal. It always goes back to God will dream a dream bigger than you can ever. And so that's exactly what's happening to me right now.
But then I can't call that, can you still call that a coincidence? That's not, it cannot be. Going back to, you know, your expressions earlier on, and I mean, I'm not challenging you, but it's just the feeling that it's too perfect just to be a coincidence.
Right. No, very fair point. And I think it's a combination of all of it, right? So I don't want to or belittle the hard work, you know, because I've been working my tail off, you know, for the last many years. And being able to seize the opportunity, you know, meeting Devon, for example, that was very orchestrated. You know, myself and my manager, we tried for a long time to get a meeting for Devon. I met with him 2 years ago. You know, we had been talking for a year and maybe a half before we even started talking about a deal. You know, Columbia Pictures sat and watched to see if I was credible in my career before they even wanted to touch it. There was background research. So there was a lot of preparation, right? Meeting the opportunity. But then at the same time, you know, the fact that he was interested. You know, there are many other stories. There are many other people that have much more compelling stories than I have. The fact that he was, I think a bit of that is chance. And so to me, it feels like it's a combination of all of it. But whatever it is, I'll take it.
And just out of interest, who would you like to play you?
Well, you know, I don't want to say, only because that's what they're doing right now.
Right.
They're finishing the script and they're doing the preliminary casting. But I will say that I want that person just to be, you know, a very handsome, very debonair, very, you know. But I don't know. It's going to be funny because whoever it is, people are going to associate that person with me for the rest of my life. So it'll be really interesting.
That's interesting, because then I think it may work better with an up and coming fresh actor as opposed to someone who's maybe already established potentially.
Yeah, you know, I will say that there's a lot of talk about that, right? It's about trying to identify that person. So Lisa, you're on it. You should be on casting.
I think I should, Paul. Come on, let's make it happen. Let's make it more than a coincidence, Paul.
That was good.
Do you like that? I was quite proud of that as well. Thanks. And lastly, before I let you go, what's next? I mean, we've heard about the movie, but you do lots of other things. So what is next?
Oh, wow. Well, there are a lot of projects that we're working on. So the movie is a big one. We have the agency. The agency now is called the Paul Carrick Brunson Agency. We have a staff of 9, and we're continuing to do that. We also have our Mentor Monday, which is really it's an initiative for entrepreneurs. We've started something called the Weekend Startup School all throughout the United States, and we're going to bring it to London as well. But a big project I will say is I'm working on a technology platform, and I think that it is well needed right now, and it's something that, quite honestly, I started back in 2012. And so if someone wanted to do some real serious diligence, they could just look at like my Instagram, back in 2012. But I started in 2012, but it's just recently that we put a team together. Maybe about a year and a half ago, we put a team together, and we'll launch it this year. And so, I'm excited. My whole focus as an entrepreneur is to try, big, audacious things every year, and know that I'm going to fail at a few. But as long as I could knock one out the park, I'm happy.
Oh, that sounds so good. Sounds so good. And you're doing so well. And I'm personally very proud of you because obviously I've met you twice now when you came over to London. The second time I was lucky enough to be on the panel and give my very opinionated expressions.
That was fun. That was very fun.
It was fun, but I do think, your skills are needed. I think they're needed all over the world. And it surpasses colour, creed and everything else. So, and I think the reason why it does surpass that is because you look at both male and female, and you look at the differences and you celebrate the differences, and you work out what each one can do to complement each other. I think there's a lot of books out there because, women are always the one who are like, oh, I can't find a man. Then a lot of the advice is just given to the woman, but you do both. So I think that's what makes you very much unique and very much in demand.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And I really appreciate you, Lisa. I mean, I enjoy your friendship, and I know that I'm coming back to London, and we're going to have you on a panel again.
Are you sure you want that, Paul?
With your fresh insight. I'll say your fresh insight. But yeah, I'm looking forward to coming back. I always have a great time in London.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been great. And I'm looking forward to everything that you're going to do in the coming years.
Thank you, Lisa. I really appreciate it.
Hey.